Okay, welcome Facebook, or hi Facebook, welcome Facebook, hi Facebook. It's Kamal Fernandez here with some exciting news. I'm just going to give it a second for people to join. You may guess what it might be, but we will see. I posted earlier that I had an exciting announcement, and you may guess what it might be. But I'll let a few more people join me. I'm going to try and log onto Facebook because it's being awkward at the moment. Let's have a look. Ooh. Let's have a look. Ooh. So, let's have a look. So, yeah, people are joining, which is all good. So, excellent. Alrighty, so if somebody could just give me a thumbs up, just to let me know that you can hear me okay. Excellent, a few more people joining, excellent. So, excellent, brilliant. Okay, so, as you may have gathered by the little person dotting around, I have a new puppy. So this is my new mini poodle, or our family's new mini poodle, and she is 8 weeks old today, and we picked her up, and she's obviously just getting to know us all and get into the routine of our family. But she was as all things with me, because I looked around and I thought, what do I need? I need another dog. So I thought, well, go and get one. No, joking aside, she was very much a spontaneous decision. I saw her litter mates on somebody else's Facebook who is having her sister, and I was really drawn to her and this particular puppy. At that point, I wasn't definitely having one, and I just jokingly sent a picture to Lois. And made the off-the comment about, oh, I think there might be puppies out of this litter available. Shall we go and have a look? Which I do on a semi-frequent basis. And I have to say, normally with rescue dogs or dogs that are needing a home, etc. And normally she sort of refutes my decision, my impulsiveness. But on this occasion, she didn't. So I thought, oh, well, maybe it's worth having a look. They were born relatively local to us, only about half an hour away. And we met her amazing breeder. Shout out to Emily Holland of Toddly Poodles. Did an absolutely phenomenal job with the litter. And we absolutely fell in love with them all. And then we had the heart-wrenching decision about whether we add another dog to our family. And as you can see, I conceded and went with, as I always do, you know, you only live once, eat the cake, buy the car, get the puppy. So we've ended up with this little pup. Obviously, I know the breed relatively well. Sugar is part poodle, and I've lived with a standard poodle before, so I'm familiar with the breed. She's going to be a new challenge because I haven't had a mini poodle before. So it's going to be a fun journey to see how she develops and to learn about her and to share some of her training with you. So really excited about her. She's just obviously getting used to our family, getting used to the house. She's met Sugar, because Sugar's got a phenomenal temperament, and she seems to be fine with her. I haven't let her meet the other dogs, purely from a size point of view, and I don't want her to be overwhelmed by them if she does meet them. Obviously, I had them in my arms and passing through, but not any interaction with them. She's too small, and I want to obviously protect that interaction, and that's a really, really critical part of socializing your dogs and preventing long-term issues. So for me, one of the precursors to preventing reactivity and your dog developing any issues with other dogs is to really, really, really be aware of how you do that initial interaction with other dogs, and that's going to be a huge part of her learning, how she meets my dog specifically. And obviously the big things are going to be getting her used to our routine, getting her house trained, getting her clean in the house, getting her used to a crate and all that sort of stuff that you do with puppies, and obviously then starting to get to know her and hopefully train her. So it's going to be a fun journey with her. I don't have any plans of yet of what I'm going to specifically do with her. For me, it's going to be an interesting journey to train one and get another breed of dog, which is something that I'm always interested in, and also a smaller dog. I've had a smaller dog. I've had German Spitz and obviously Sugar, so I'm familiar with training other dogs. There's certainly different sizes, so she's going to be another little challenge. Let's get this one. Oh, look at another little challenge to embark on, and that's what to me dog training is really about. So no, I didn't need a puppy. I definitely didn't. I have enough young dogs, but I let my heart rule my head, and you know it's always served me well thus far. So we'll see how she gets on. She's been beautifully reared, as I said. She was one of, there was 3 girls in the litter. We went for her in particular. It was the one that we felt would be best fitted to our family. She was probably the middle puppy, and that certainly with our lifestyle would be something that would suit us. So we're starting obviously with the next sort of couple of weeks will be really about relationship building and getting to know her, finding out about her personality and seeing where that takes us. As I said, her breeder Emily did a phenomenal job of giving them the best start, which for me is a huge part of finding a dog and giving yourself the best chance. Now, if you have the good fortune to have a breeder that's so invested, by all means grab it. And even I would pick a litter of puppies over an alternative that might even have maybe genetically stronger traits or more suitable for what I wanted. If I had a breeder that was really invested, ideally I'd have both. But if I had a breeder that was really invested, because that formative start is really going to go a long way, really make that decision. Now, unless the puppy had, exceptional bloodlines, which I couldn't get anywhere in the world, which I've had with other breeds of dogs, my options were very limited. Fortunately for me, I've had some fantastic breeders, with my dogs. But I have to say, Emily was really, it's her first litter. She's done a phenomenal job with rearing them. I think she probably cried over, I think the puppies are starting to go today. And she's obviously, she's keeping puppies out of the litter. She might be keeping 2. So that's going to be really exciting to watch. She has done loads with them. Obviously, as being a poodle, she started the process of getting them used to grooming, which is a huge part of that's going to be part of their life and rearing them. And she's done loads of interactions, loads of toys and things to stimulate them, which is really critical for preventing long-term behavioural issues. If you can get that bit right, it's going to start you off on the best possible foot. Now, I also, with a lot of puppies, and with a lot of dogs, you don't have that advantage. It doesn't necessarily mean to say that the puppy is going to remain having problems or have problems because it didn't have a breeder as committed as Emily. But it does mean that you might have to do additional work to work on things like getting them interested in toys, getting them interested in food, teaching them about sights and sounds. So as part of her upbringing, she had lots of things like sounds, hoovering around her, other dogs in the house, television on, etc. Where they were reared was in the living room, which was a huge part, because it's quite a busy part of your home. So that was another thing that was really sold us about having a puppy from this particular litter. I haven't particularly I've always wanted a poodle. I love the breed. I love lots of different breeds. I'm quite spontaneous about my decisions about getting a puppy. Things that I would look for, obviously I looked at the parents. Her mum does agility, and I think she's in grade 6. Her dad, it doesn't do a sport. He was a breed champion in Spain, I think it was. He was a breed champion and brought over to his country, and he has a really sound temperament. His breeder, or the breed of these puppies, she put a lot of work into researching them. So that, again, is stuff that you want to consider when you're looking for a dog. Or even if you're thinking about a rescue dog, find out as much of the information, speak to the rescue, get an insight into the dog, see it several times. What often people do is they go and see a puppy on a one-off occasion, or a dog on a one-off occasion, and they try and make a decision based on that. What we did is we went back several times when the puppies were various ages. I think we first saw them maybe when they were, I think, about 5 weeks, but don't quote me, it might have been 4 or 5 weeks. So we've seen them numerous times. We obviously met the mum, we saw how they were reared. So if you don't have that advantage, then you're getting a rescue dog. Try and see the dog on several occasions, if ideally you can. So with my previous dogs, obviously I've bred some of them, I've brought some of them in, I've rescued some of them. I ideally will go and see them more than once, because I want to see the puppy or the dog in different scenarios or different situations. And multiple times. It may be that the puppy's having a quiet day. It might be that the puppy's might have just eaten, depending on the routine. So all those things can affect the what I'm seeing from the puppy. Now, we had the advantage of her breeder gave us almost daily updates about the litter, sent us loads of videos, which means that we could really analyse and scrutinise them all in different situations. At that point, although we definitely wanted a female puppy, we hadn't decided which one, and at that point there was other people that may or may not be having one, so we didn't know. So we just observed the litter just to see which one we felt we pulled to, and then obviously we had a discussion with the breeder about what we looked for in the dog. And again, making the process collaborative is really, really important. If you have a really invested breeder, certainly when I breed puppies, I have lengthy discussions about what the owner wants from the dog. What's your lifestyle like? For example, I have older dogs, so we want a puppy that's more confident. I want a puppy that's going to be a little bit robust. Obviously, she's a small puppy at the moment, so I would be mindful of that. But my choice of whether I picked a poodle versus a chihuahua might be dictated by those decisions. My dogs are really good with meeting other dogs, but there is that safety dynamic. So when you're picking a dog or choosing a dog, those are things to consider as part of your decision making. Certainly when you're looking for a sports dog, you also want to consider things like, does the dog value toys? Has the dog got natural prey drive? Has the dog got natural food drive, or has the dog got food drive at all? The dog's structure. So that was definitely a factor with her in terms of her structure. I really liked her shape. So that really was something that was a factor for me. Certainly for if she does any sports, I want to put that as part of my consideration. A good girl. She obviously likes toys. She really loves this toy. So she's had this a couple of times through the day, and she's really, really starting to get into it, which is brilliant. So we'll build that. But you don't always know that when you get a puppy. Sometimes I've had puppies that have had little interaction. Genetically, they've been predisposed to playing and have food drive. So that's got me a long way. Other puppies I've got have been, or old dogs I've got have been rescue dogs or rehome dogs, and they've had no interaction. Some have been punished for interacting with toys. Scooter was definitely that type of dog. He'd been corrected for interacting with toys, so I had to rebuild that. Now, from a dog training point of view, it was all great lessons for me to experience. Good girl. But from a choosing a puppy point of view, that would definitely be considerations I would make. Has the puppy had exposure to things like toys and interaction? These guys had wobble cushions and there was a construction where they had toys dangling, so loads and loads of things to stimulate them. Now, those aren't necessarily always going to be the deciding factor. If you have a puppy with, two apprehensive parents, despite best intentions, those traits are always going to be there. However, if you've got a dog, a puppy that's got sound parents, sound temperament, giving them the best start is going to just make that progression or that decision or that choice for you that little bit easier. Often, so many people do, they'll get a dog spontaneously, as I have, but without doing that little bit of due diligence into what you're getting. Somebody down the road's had a litter of puppies, I'm going to get one. And often, that was what we did with our first dog when, many moons ago. We contacted the local rescue, they had a dog available, they brought it to us. We didn't see the parents, we didn't see the siblings, they just went, here's the dog you're having. And it was a steep learning curve for us, and I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. But definitely thinking about the decision of picking a puppy is really, really critical, and looking at things like the breeder, the genetics of the dog, and so forth and so forth. It was really interesting this weekend. I had a world championship, world championship level or world champion IGP trainer, Mia Stockstadt, and she also breeds Malinois, and she showed us 2 clips of her current young dog and the puppies at 7 weeks old and his brother, and it was like night and day. And in terms of the puppies, one was very, very coordinated and busy and active, and the other one was far more stoic and thoughtful and sat there and took it all in and didn't respond to when a ball was thrown. It was quite amusing to see. But she actually picked that puppy, and the reason she said is that at 7 weeks, the second puppy showed a little bit more concern, which was something in different situations, which made her or showed a level of apprehension, which made her make the decision about taking the other puppy, who although had lesser sort of desire to engage and interact with toys, he had a sound temperament. And sound temperament is such a massive thing. Certainly, you know, to prevent a dog having, or to avoid having a dog that has reactivity challenges. Now, obviously, if you have a dog that's reactive, and I talk about genetics being a factor, you want to be truthful with yourself as to whether the genetic factor that has caused reactivities, for example, the dog's desire to chase or respond to motion. So taking a breed like a Malinois, they're going to be predisposed to having behaviour that could easily become reactive. You know, motion sensitivity, defensiveness, fear-based, some of them can be fearful. Those things can easily become problematic if not channeled properly. So thinking about the breed that you're getting is going to be a huge part. Now, poodles as a breed, they can be a little bit aloof by nature. Certainly the standards the minis can be a little bit more gregarious, but things to consider with small dogs is things about like moving around my feet. So that's something I'm very conscious of. I don't want to become shy to me or coming into my personal space. Handling is going to be a big part of her life. Obviously, being a poodle, she's going to need regular grooming. So one of the things that her breeder sort of advised, which is fantastic advice, is to get her to a groomer ASAP before she needs any actual specific things done, because of her breeder's already given her, trimmed her, etc. But to start that process, and that's something that a lot of people don't take into consideration. Think about the villages that you have in your dog's life, i.e. your vet, if you have a dog walker, people like, for example, I have somebody that comes and dog sits for me. So they're going to meet my puppies and my dogs relatively early so that they form a relationship. So moving forward, all those people that are part of my dog's life, the dog becomes accustomed to them, especially if you have breeds that are a little bit more sensitive, or a dog that's a bit more sensitive. Try and, like, for example, your vet. So she will go to my vet before she needs anything done to her. And I want her to form a relationship with them. They'll go in there, she'll meet them, she'll get treats from them. You know, my vet nurse is a really good friend of mine, Lauren. She's amazing. She has my dogs when I'm away, so that she's an integral part of my dog's life. So ensuring that this puppy has a great relationship with her is really important. You'll probably know I haven't said her name. She has got a name, but I don't tend to say my dog's names in their presence because I don't want to desensitize it. However, for the purpose of introducing her, I'm going to say, I don't think I mentioned it, I'm pretty sure I didn't, her name one time in her earshot only, and then I will be really mindful of not overusing her name. So her name is Beryl. Beryl, which we thought was kind of amusing. It's also Lois's grandmother's name, so there is a sentimental attachment. And around the house, she's going to be Busy Bee as her nickname. So the name the name says a lot about a dog. And I always think my dogs have always grown into their names, whatever they might be. And certainly Busy Bee does tend to be amped, as you can see from her tugging. Hey, you're a good girl. So part of parcel of rearing here is going to be obviously avoiding her developing any behavioural challenges. That I'm going to share with my group in my Puppy Perfect group, which is currently running. And also my Obedience Fanatics groups are going to get the opportunity to see me train a different breed of dog and a small dog. There's currently a miniature poodle in the course anyway, or in the group. So it'll be a really interesting experience to share that with them, teaching all those foundation elements. If you're interested next week, because I'm going to be opening the doors to my Obedience Fanatics group, I'm going to be doing some lives with the puppy to show you how to start things off and taking a different path. So starting things differently, maybe for a small dog, I might do things slightly differently, and cultivating obviously her interest in toys and starting to work on those skills. So obviously I have been doing little bits of play with her today just to see her response to toys, and she definitely likes her toy. I'm going to pick this up now, you can wander off. Good. So we don't, whilst I'm nattering away, let's put that, oh, I know where that's gone. So what, you can have this one. This is a big chunky one there. You can have that by stage. So I don't want that toy. Things that I would do with my puppies of this age to start them off, and certainly specifically for one, a different breed dog, and two, a smaller dog, and start them off for dog sports. So just going to see if you've got any questions before. Yes, she is my puppy. Oh, let me just make sure I don't tread on her, because that would not be good. Let's have a look. Oh, quite a few comments. Let's have a look. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. See if there's any questions. Let's have a look. Oh. Okay, what about when your dog has been attacked several times with off-lead dogs? So Alison O'Hara asked, what about when your dog has been attacked several times with off-lead dogs and has now become reactive? Yeah, that's something that a lot of people can experience, and certainly that's a really common thing when dogs are in adolescence, that they get set upon by another dog. Often what happens, certainly with male dogs, is they emit hormones, which can cause other dogs to attack them or to go for them. When that happens, you definitely want to invoke the goodwill of other people to start to accrue a little band of merry men, or so hypothetically speaking, or other dogs that you can start to socialise your dog with. Consider muzzle training them to alleviate the stress and anxiety that you may feel when your dog is around other dogs. So you want to remove that as an entity. And start to also work on counter conditioning and desensitising your dog to other dogs. Obviously, it's really important to take your time, create distance and so forth, and have access to other dogs that have got good temperament. So obviously, this puppy's going to meet my other dogs over the next maybe couple of weeks. I'm mindful of her size. I'm just very cautious because, for example, Swipe, who's got a super temperament, he's very, very physically big and powerful. So I don't want an untoward experience for her. Even him just nose pushing her just to sniff her can be quite intimidating if you think of the size dynamic. So I would be really mindful of when he gets to meet her. Just watching that she doesn't go for a pee. So just those simple decisions can absolutely can absolutely make a massive difference to her confidence level. So I'm going to be really mindful of when she meets my other dogs, purely to avoid her having any inappropriate advances or to have anything untoward happen to her. You know, my dogs, as I said, are very good with other dogs. However, just want to protect her little body, and it will only be for the next couple of weeks once she grows, and then obviously she's met Sugar, she'll definitely be able to meet Sonic and some of the smaller collies, and certainly the ones that have had pups, because they're naturally a little bit more cautious with smaller dogs because of having puppies. Swipe, with the best intentions, is a really nice dog with dogs, and in fact he doesn't notice them, but just in his lack of awareness of them, like he literally doesn't see them, there's a possibility he might move and knock her out the way, and I don't want her having that experience. So just thinking about that. Okay, Team Tiny Dog. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Toby, she's my future IGP. She's got a good grip though, so she might be. Who knows? Oh, hang on, she wants to get down. Let's have a look. Put you down there. Oh, let me have a look. Come here, you. So, gorgeous. I was brought up with toy. Oh, hang on. Yvonne says, I was brought up with toy and miniature poodles, amazing little dogs. Well, since owning Macy, I've always had a little dog in my life. Yeah, absolutely. I always said I wouldn't have a little dog, and then I got Sonic, and obviously Sugar, and now her, and I absolutely would not be. Do you want a toy? Yeah, have that instead. She says, I want my toy. I absolutely wouldn't be without one now. I love having them around. You know, Sugar's, you know, an absolute, you know, the most perfect dog ever to walk the face of the earth. And hopefully she's anything like her. And she does remind me a little bit of her, a similar sort of disposition. So if she's half the dog that Sugar will be, we'd be more than happy. Let's have a look. Ask any more questions. Does she have a name? Yeah, obviously I've mentioned her name, but I'm really mindful. One of the big things that people do as a mistake is overuse their dog's name. And I'm really, really pedantic about where, when, and how I say my puppy's name, because I want to get that puppy responding. So Neve's obviously been told her name, but she's also been told her name that she's going to be able to say, and the one, good girl, around the house that she can use so that she doesn't get desensitized to her name. So the people that have puppies with family members that live in the same house, I would strongly suggest having a generic name everybody can call the puppy, and have one specifically for recall specifically, or teach a very specific recall cue. Here, come, you know, party time, or treat party, I should say, which is one that we use at marker, or just make a little noise, pup, 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 etc. Anything like that, so that it doesn't get poisoned by overuse. Okay, let's have a look. Any more? I love being a poodle granny. Nice one, Nikki. Let's have a look. Emily, looking forward to watching her grow and becoming the best girl she could be. P.S. Dad was from Hungary, but bred in Russia originally. Oh yeah, so correction. So I thought Spain, so Hungary. I knew it was somewhere not in England, but other than that, my geography isn't the best. But yeah, shout out to Emily, Kirsty. Oh, Kirsty, yeah. Yeah, I've become a poodle parent. I know. I actually contacted Richard and Claire. I sent Richard and Claire, and this is an in Marco thing, a photo of her, and said, "What do you think she is?" And I'm not going to repeat their comments, but I said, I sold her under the pretense of her being a Malinois, and they didn't buy it. They didn't seem to put two and together. However, I did ring them today and let the cat out of the bag. Obviously, we had her, so I could let them know that we had now a poodle in the house, and they were obviously really, really happy that we had one, given that they love their poodles. Okay, any more questions? Oh, hang on. This is so weird. My Mad and I were. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Get a party poodle. Yay. So, yeah. Yes, mine has now been muzzle trained. Excellent. So, yeah, she's pretty cute. We are pretty obsessed with her, we have to say. And I think we've probably gotten breeders' nerves saying, "Oh, any puppy updates?" So be mindful. You're probably my Instagram and my Facebook is going to get puppy spam because she's pretty cute and we already adore her. I have to say, from the second I've seen her specifically, I absolutely had that connection. With a lot of puppies I see. Certainly my puppies, I've had that with several of my dogs. I've seen them in photos with no agenda of having a dog and instantly known that I was going to end up with that dog, and I definitely had that with her. So in her, I saw her on Facebook. She was called Mrs. H, and that was the puppy I sent to Lois, and that was the one that I gravitated to. And obviously at that point I hadn't seen her, but I definitely I definitely thought I'm going to end up with that dog. And at that point, obviously, I hadn't broached the subject with Lois. I hadn't thought about getting another dog. But that was the puppy that I always pulled towards. And there was another puppy in the litter, a little black-faced puppy who was a real spunky little thing, who had stacks of character, but there was just something about her. And when we looked at them, we felt that she'd been a better fit for us and our family. And obviously, Lois wants to have a lot of involvement with her training, so she was the puppy that was the middle puppy. So that's a good little guide if you're unsure about which puppy to pick. If you're thinking about getting a puppy or not confident about picking puppies, a couple of things to consider is, one, have a conversation with the breeder. Be really, really implicit about what you want from a dog, and that means whether the dog is intended to do a sport, whether you're an energetic person, whether you like to, stronger dogs, softer dogs. Be as implicit as you can, because certainly as a breeder, I want to know, because my goal is to try and guide that person to get their once-in-a-lifetime dog by meshing the personalities. So really be really clear about what you want, which we were. Emily asked brilliant questions about what we're looking for. We had to complete a questionnaire. A very long one, but you know what? It was really refreshing to see somebody that so wanted to get it right for matching the puppies. She asked about obviously how we experience with grooming puppies, grooming dogs, and certainly the breed. Do we know about how much? Because obviously when you're taking on a coated breed like poodle, it's a lifelong commitment to maintaining them, and it's not, that needs to be considered. That having that dialogue with your breeder or the rescue or wherever you're getting your dog from can definitely lead to a more harmonious relationship. So I'm going to see if there's any more questions. Hey you, madam. Before I shoot off to work and dropping off with Lois. So Jill. So Jill has her sister, who I think should be with her now. So Jill, next week I'm going to be doing lives, a couple of lives next week, showing little training sessions with the puppy. And obviously then my doors to my Obedience Fanatics group is going to be open. Currently, if anybody is out watching that, or people that are struggling with reactivity, my Relabeling Reactivity course is currently open, and it will be closing at the end of the week. If you're interested in that, that is a group that can help you with your reactivity challenges. If you have a dog that has reactivity challenges, sign up for that group. You can be part of a community where, with like-minded people that have in your position, have a similar experience, and you can get coaching from me and my team, which consists of Lou Holmes, who has done a massive input on nose work, tracking, scent work, scent games, which is a fantastic way to help dogs. And if you know Lou has a massive background in nose work. She's trained, I believe, I think it might be 5 or 6 dogs that have been qualified search and lowland search and rescue dogs. She's trained dogs for the police, hearing dogs for the deaf. She's trained dogs in obedience, agility. So she's a really, really experienced dog trainer, a wealth of knowledge about scent work and nose work. And she's one of the instructors in the course. She does live sessions with the group. Additionally, there is Angela Watson, who is our coach for people, because I think that's a massive part of overcoming reactivity challenges, is helping the people gain confidence. And there's input on that. Kat Farrance from Movement for Modern Life, and my student, also part of my Obedience Fanatics group, who has her Obedience Champion Australian Shepherd that she's trained with me since puppyhood. She's also one of the contributors about working on self to build your confidence up. So loads of people there that are able to help you, and obviously me giving you lots of information about the dog training aspect. There is input from people about using medication for reactivity. There's input from that. There's input about diet for reactivity challenges, and there's input about obviously working on yourself and building your confidence up. Stacks and stacks and stacks of information to help you overcome your reactivity challenges. You know, just an example, people that are on that group have said that they, just by being part of that community, has helped them gain confidence and overcome their challenges. So yeah, if you're interested in becoming part of that community, I will share the link for that. Next week, Obedience Fanatics will be open, and I'll be doing lives with the puppies to show you how I start puppies off with just simple things that are that can be used in any dog sports, and showing you, again, it's a different puppy. I did some lives with Badger, the puppy that I had from my last litter that was waiting to go to his new home in Holland. And I shared some insight with him, some simple things. She's going to be a different puppy, so I don't know how her path will be, but I'm going to share some of that with you all next week, if you're interested. So I'm going to have a look if there's any final questions. Good girl, baby girl. Yeah, we think she's pretty cute, V. I mean, already we're pretty obsessed with her. But I feel that about all my dogs. I'm very, very lucky. Okie dokie. Yeah, thank you, Caroline. Caroline, one of my members. It's a great group, super supportive group, fantastic people in that. So if you're interested, if you're an obedience group, a junkie, or just a dog sports junkie, there's people in there that do IGP, Mondio Ring, Heel Work to Music, Rally-O, Obedience, Agility. What else? Who else is in there? Field trials as well. Yeah, gun dog work. So yeah, an eclectic mix of people in that group. And it's just a great group for dog training. So again, I'm going to be sharing information about that next week. But I'm off to drop her off with Lois before I go to work and walk my other dogs. So I'm going to wrap up now. If you have any questions, by all means post them on this thread. But yeah, super excited about her. I love a puppy, clearly. And there's going to be stacks of pictures on her on my social media, so you can see how adorable she is. And I'll share some, obviously, of her litter. But yeah, who knows what the future holds for her. See you all later. I'm going to love you and leave you.